Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome to the March installment of the 2021 Craft Vault Collab hosted by Poet Spice. This collab is all about creating projects with older items in our craft stash or craft vault. Specifically, items that are 6 months or older are fair game. There are a number of talented ladies who are participating in this collab who will be creating projects with all sorts of craft supplies or mediums from their own craft vault. And I, of course, have links listed below in the description box, so make sure you open it up to check out these other ladies. And also, just so you guys know, if you are just checking in for the first time and figuring out this collab, it is a year-long collab, and our videos are posted on the third Friday of each month. So get ready to be inspired to use up your craft stash, and hopefully you will check back each month to see what we are creating using supplies from our craft vault. For this month's project, I did decide to pull out some of these 3D die cut images that I've been holding on to in my craft vault for quite a while. I did receive these from Sheila, who is Art of Life Sheila here on YouTube. And they're really fun images. They actually, you punch them out and they make 3D embellishments. So I'm just gonna hold up the back so you can kind of check them out. That's one of them, and then here was the other book. And I'm actually not quite sure which company produces these. I know Sheila's from Ireland, so I presume that this is something that she bought there. And I know the address here, you know, there's something that says the Netherlands, there's something here that says the UK, so I'm not quite sure which company this is. But they were really fun to work with. And you punch out the images and you layer them up into 3D images, and there was an extra sheet in the back, so I didn't do anything with those, and I'll just punch these out and use them in future junk journals. But I did do every single page in both of these books. And again, I did create some of the embellishments, and I'll just hold them up and show you what some of them look like so you can kind of see the different layers. I just used some foam tape to pop up the different items. There was all sorts of fun different images. Some of them were vintage, some of them were shabby chic. Some of them just had flowers on them, like this one. Here's an old alarm clock that was kind of fun. A bird and a clock. But overall, some really pretty images. And so those are the ones that I'm just showing you right now that I didn't do anything with. And the rest I did create cards out of. So I have a big collection of cards now in my stash. So this first one I just layered up on some paper, and I didn't do any fussy cutting or any die cutting on this one. It was just a layered up. And so here was the embellishment and just some papers. And I did use some scrapbooking paper that had been in my stash for a while. I tried to use up as many cardstock scraps as I could. So I did try to start off with scraps first before I cut up any new sheets. So that was the one card I created. Here is another really beautiful one. This one's more of a shabby chic style. And I didn't do any major embellishing on them, you know, besides die cutting. I added some flat back pearls. If I wanted to in the future, I still could add some mulberry flowers or something, but I wanted to keep them relatively flat so that they would be easy to mail. And so this one, the major die that I used for that one was this Spellbinders die right here. And it's Spellbinders labels 10. But I think this one is pretty. I love how that one turned out. And the next two, I did use this background square die. I don't have a lot of larger dies, so it's something I need to add in my wish list, I guess. But, and I'll show you what that one looks like in a second here. But I just layered up this beautiful image from one of the 3D images. And most of the cards are blank on the inside. And then here was the next one that I made using that same die, in the background die. And I love this one. I did actually show you guys what it would look like if you layered up a couple extra of some embellishments. So I do have the little dove that I added and some purple and white flowers and some pearls. So those are the two cards. And this one, I did make it into an easel card. So there's the inside. And I know that this paper and this purple paper, it was from Designs by Shelley Geigel. She does a lot of mini albums, and it was one of her older paper collections that's now retired. But I did have some scraps left over, and it worked beautifully with the colors in her, so I did use some of those up. And the 2 dies on here, and then that die on that other card was this Spellbinders square die. And it's a Stacy Karen design, and it's called Fleur de Square. The next card I created is this one. And the paper was already embossed. And I used this Spellbinders die. It's Amazing Paper Grace die. And it's called Tierra Rondelle. And I'll just turn it over in the back side so you can kind of see it. It has this one main die cut, and then it has a couple corner die cuts. But I love how that one turned out. These cards look really elegant, but they were quite simple to make and quite fast. Once I had all the pieces assembled from the 3D die cuts, they went pretty fast. I just went through and I tried to actually pull out cutting dies that I hadn't used for a while. And so here was the next one, and I really like how this one turned out too. The only die that I used was a Sizzix Tim Holtz die. It was one of these alterations die, and I just cut it out of this background piece of paper and layered it on black, and it just carried out the colors nicely in the camera on this one. So I do like how that one turned out. Here's a cute little kitten one, and a die that says To a Special Friend. And I think this is a Crafter's Companion die. It was some of those ones that not Hobby Lobby, but Tuesday Morning had a couple years ago. And another Amazing Paper Grace die, and this one's called Braided Grace Square. And you can just see the square right there. And then this one turned out really cute. The background right here, this border one is a border punch. It's a Martha Stewart one. And then the square is this square die, and it's Spellbinders. It's called Lacy Squares. I don't have the original packaging on that one. But again, I like how that one turned out. And then here's one that's a little bit more shabby pink, and it just said Love, that 3D embellishment. And this was a cutting die. It's Vintage Flourish pattern, and it came from Our Daily Bread, but I do believe Spellbinders created it for Our Daily Bread. It's one of my favorite dies. I haven't used it in a long time, but I do use it quite a bit. So that's that background one. I did find these 3D images or cutouts to be really fun. Like I said, they were quick and easy to assemble, and they make really elegant cards just by layering them up on little die cuts. And so this one is another little Chevy style one. It has a little image of the flower roses in it. And this one I added the 2 little flat back hearts. And this one was from a Spellbinders die called Iron Elegante. And just a few more to show you guys. This one I did stamp, and I don't remember who the sentiment came from, but it says, "The road to a friend's house is never long." And I used the die cut Spellbinders label 33 for that one, and then I just layered up the bike image on that one with some cardstock. And then here is the next one, another one that I really like how it turned out. I think a lot of these that I really like are the ones that have a little bit of a vintage feel to them, or the shabby feel to them. But I used the Quick Cuts Antique Doily die, which you can see right here. The paper was already embossed, and then I just layered up the image, and I added a couple of flat back pearls to the corner. And the last two, again, I used the same background die. And this one is a Spellbinders. It's Amazing Paper Grace, and it's called Canateel Rectangle. And that's kind of what it looks like. And so again, I just layered up the 3D images and on cardstock and scrapbooking paper on both of those. And I thought they turned out really lovely. I just want to thank everybody so much for watching today, and also I wanted to thank all of you ladies who left wonderful comments the last couple of months. I really appreciate it. And again, don't forget to check out the other ladies who are participating in the collab. Until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.